morning, everyone. Welcome to IT Live, brought to you by the wonderful Academy Sports and Outdoors. Today, we are going to discuss Muschamp's passing defense. We're going to explain some core concepts to you, but they are scheme wizards, and Ian did a great job. He has a coverage glossary. We're going to go through that, and we're going to understand what's going on in that realm. Before we do such a crazy thing, spring sale right now, 50% off Inside Texas on 3 and Rivals all together, Ultimate Fan Bundle. Link in the description. We got a lot of meat on the bone here, and let's get right after it as I pull it up. Let's set the stage with the beginning of your article, and we'll try to keep this as simple as possible. We don't want to go super into the weeds or make anybody's eyes glaze over, so we'll make sure that we keep it as clear as possible because it can get a little jargony.
That's the whole point. This is the jargon. We're going to try to.
This is the jargon, but we will try not to.
Jargon.
Yeah, but we'll try to make it as simple as possible. Set it up for us, Ian.
They have a lot of coverages in these Nick Saban school coaches' defensive playbooks. A lot of coverages.
Yeah, each coverage is also has 15 variations and situations, and
yep.
It's a neurotic scheme, man. Like, they've thought of everything you could beat them with. It's crazy. I don't know how you learn all that.
It is interesting how they're able to teach it.
Yeah.
Because they've been consistently able to teach it. Obviously, there's something about their method that allows kids to retain. They do say of Brent Venable's defense that it's super complicated for the newcomers. But then once you get the basic idea of it, it all
well, they do a good job because Georgia gives that freshman book, right? Which is like a very pared down basics version, which I think is good. So you learn like the core idea without the nuance. And that's helpful before you get into 700 pages of everything else in the real playbook. And something I heard it, I don't know, 5 years ago, and I think it's different now with the transfer portal, but actually colleges were able to teach more dense stuff than the NFL. And at first you're like, no, but it's because the average length of an NFL player's stay on a team was actually shorter than a college player's stay. Now that's different. People jump around and they leave early and stuff like that. But they actually had more time to teach in college than they did in the NFL years ago. And so it was, I think it might have been Vosk that talked about it, where Saban's system, you could actually carry more in college. They weren't as good, but intellectually you had more time.
You kind of have to also because at least back in the day, you used to face such a wide diversity of offenses in college, whereas in the NFL, it was like, 2-3 major systems with carryover between all three. College is much more like that now, but back in the day, and to some extent, it's like, hey, this week we're playing the option, and this week we have the air raid, and this week the other team is going to go under center. So you would have to carry a ton in college because you had to defense. You don't just get to run your plays. Like, you have to defend what the offense is trying to do. So, yeah. One of the big challenges today in just going through this is that the Nick Saban names for all their coverages are very close, but not the same as what everybody's used to seeing on Madden.
Yeah.
Some of this you'll see, oh, is that what that means in Madden? And it's like, yeah, now you understand what it is. And some of it will be like, oh, is that what this means in Madden? Nope.
Yeah. It's actually, they call it, they do have that idea, but it's called this, and there's another idea for it.
Yeah. It's all the coverages are basically the same. It's just the names for them.
Yeah. Okay. Let's break down the man variations is what we're doing. Let's explain these concepts in a clear way. So first things first, just pure man coverage. What does that mean?
Pure man coverage means exactly what it means when you play in your backyard in the Super Bowl halftime show with your kids. Probably. Maybe some of y'all are running complex zones, but
that would be cool.
I would actually be that person to do that. But
you got this guy, follow him around no matter what.
You got that guy, you got this guy, you rush the quarterback, or maybe you play with the safety, whatever. Yeah, it's the simplest possible version.
The most beautiful version if you can do it. But you'll see that there's a lot of ways that break it, and that's why you need these other variations. Okay, now what is a zone match coverage?
Play man if is the summary that Pack explained in one of our shows that's really helpful. So it's like, I'm going to drop back into this zone, but if this guy runs this kind of route into my zone, I'm covering him man to man. So I'll pick him up. PK played a fair bit of zone match, or just zone also. Brent Venables runs a ton of zone match very effectively at Oklahoma. It is pretty common. The cover 3 stuff with Rip and Liz that Joe's been talking about because the source was talking it up at practice, that is all zone match. That is all. You're playing like cover 3, but it will turn into man coverage if the receivers do this. And this is always the thing that would destroy zone coverage.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And then man match coverage, similar name, but it's different.
Play man unless.
Okay.
So it's like, you got this guy, you got this guy. Unless if they go here, then let them go there. Maybe communicate with your teammates, but let them go and then look for something else.
Yeah.
So it becomes, you're defaulting to man coverage. Zone match, you play zone, but you default with zone, but you play man as needed. Man match, you play man, but you pivot to zone as needed, basically.
Yep. Yeah, that's about the clearest way. I mean, there were 3 years there where I was like, can someone clearly explain the zone match and man match to me? I would listen to podcasts, clinics, and I would hear just like little tweaks. So it took a while to actually understand truly what these, because the names are similar, the differences.
There's also like people break down pattern reading versus pattern matching, which would be like pattern reading would be like, we're playing zone, but we're aware of these route patterns and we're going to try to cover this pattern and this pattern. And then pattern matching is zone matching. We're playing zone, but if they do this, we play man.
Yeah.
And maybe PK, definitely Venables were more pattern reading than pattern matching.
So basically, it's just everyone would like to play pure man in a perfect world. If you had the all-star team and every one of your players could run with every offensive player on any route, that's what you would do. It's the most pure form. You can do cool stuff with it. But the problem is that's not realistic. And there's plenty of players you're going to go against on offense that can beat at least one of your guys. And there's routes like rub routes, underneath routes, where you're out leveraged and you'll get beat. So that's why they have all these other strategies off of pure man coverage. So that's all kind of the heart of it.
You know, there's a part of me that feels like there's an inherent superiority in zone because you can take away key spots on the field. The idea with man coverage is don't try to get too fancy, just take away the guys that need to get the ball. And the idea with zone coverage is take away the areas of the field where they can hurt you and then adjust from there.
They run these 7 concepts. If you can just position guys, beat them to the finish line.
Or even just like, hey, anything that they do is going to want to traffic in these areas.
Right.
So let's take those areas away.
Right. They're going to have something short. They're going to have something intermediate, and they're going to have something deep. So just have a guy's position there.
It may be my flag bias because in flag, zone is 100% the way to go.
Yeah. All right. Are you ready to actually get into them, Ian?
Real quick, Blake Bryant notes that Vic Fangio uses a lot of the Rip Liz stuff in his scheme. Yes. Also, pretty much everyone does. Like Rip Liz was a Saban creation, I think in conjunction with some other people, but whatever. Saban really popularized it, but his breakthrough in developing it was in like the 80s, right? Or the early 90s or something. And it's like any team running cover 3 in high school, chances are they run Ripley's. It's completely saturated across football.
Yep. Cover 0, but it doesn't mean cover 0 in Saban's world.
Yeah. This one is very tricky because normally when you say cover 0, most people don't say cover 0. They would say like a 0 blitz. Maybe they would say cover 0 when they're describing a 0 blitz. And in a 0 blitz, you would be saying there's no safety. There are 0 safeties.
There's no one deep.
We're in man coverage with no one playing over the top. Not what it means in this defense. In this defense, cover 0 is man coverage with no underneath. Normally in cover 1, you have 4 pass rushers. And then you have a deep safety. And then you have 5 guys assigned to the 5 skill guys in man coverage. Well, if you add that up, that's only 10. So now you have 1 extra player. So in cover 1, skipping ahead, your extra player sits in the lower middle of the field and he plays he's like a spy or a robber. They call him a rat usually in the middle of the field. And you can like come up with rules to have him trade off crossing patterns with people, or he could spy the quarterback. There's a number of useful things he could do. In cover 0, you do not have that guy. You blitz him. So now you have 5 pass rushers, 5 guys in man coverage, and then only 1 remaining extra player. And in this one, that's the strong safety, and he drops back to cover the post. So in this defense, cover 0 is a single high coverage.
Yeah, not a 0 high coverage. So you get man on the corner. You get man right here between the star and the slot receiver. This Mike here is actually going to be on a blitz. So you're going to use him to add on the 4 guys on the line. So you're bringing 5. The money backer is manning up the running back here. The free safety is going to drop down and take the tight end, the Y. And then this other corner is going to be on the Z. And as Ian said, this strong safety is going to drop and play single high.
I assume on the next one down against trips, the strong safety rotates down to the Y and the free safety drops back.
This one?
Okay, well, it's still just the safety. Okay. Yeah, the safety to the tight end drops down. It's very simple sound. We're going to play a linebacker on a running back, our nickels and corners on the receivers, our safety on the tight end and man coverage. They all have a help in the back end in the post. And we got 5 guys coming after the quarterback. So it's literally one-on-one everywhere, including with the court between the quarterback and the safety, and the quarterback trying to like obfuscate where he wants to throw and the safety trying to take away. So it's almost like the purest kind of man coverage.
With all the mobile quarterbacks, does the 0 rat get to blitz the quarterback?
There is no rat in 0.
In this, yeah. So what happens if the quarterback takes off? The money or the Mac has to pick him up?
You get into trouble.
I was going to say.
This is not a very good coverage for when the quarterback runs.
Yeah. Luckily, there's 15 other coverages we can run. So
you could have one of the 5 pass rushers hold up and spy. So like on this one, it even says on the jack, it says contain pass.
Yeah, right here.
He's like waiting for the quarterback to get flushed to him. And if the quarterback were to like slip up the middle or something, then maybe he would chase that down as well.
Yeah. Did they say rat is robber? No, we're saying that there's times where you can have a robber and there's times where you can have a rat. Robber, when I take it as is, robber is a higher player coming down, and then the rat is generally a second level player. But that might be semantics. Somebody might have learned it a different way.
I don't think that's even. I think usually a robber would be like a safety in the middle.
A higher player. Yeah.
He stays back usually.
Yeah.
And a rat. Yeah. You can play cover 1 rat with the safety as the rat.
They confuse me with your nomenclature. This is all of football. If we taught you another system, we would have different nomenclature. We're trying our best to teach you probably what you think it is and then how it's different with Saban. So there's going to be nomenclature, but really just when we describe who's on who's doing what, that's what you need to learn about it. But we are trying to avoid as much jargon, but some of it's impossible. The jargon is descriptive and baked in.
Yeah, I'll just fire as many questions as you want.
Yeah.
Coach Steve Sarcasm asks, would be like one high and safety goes hook to curl. That would be in a zone coverage like cover 3 that we'll get to in a minute.
Because the dropping safety here is on the tight end. He's manned up. So he's not gonna work his zone.
Yeah, it's just everybody is in pure, you get this guy, I get this guy, I get this guy. In cover 0 and also more or less in cover 1. Let's go to cover 1. You got cover 1?
Let's go to cover 1. Well, we can show your description first. All right, here's cover 1 in the Saban system.
Yeah, same thing, but you get that extra guy at the second level. And you can do, I described the funnel where you have 2 extra guys. So in the cover 0 thing we just looked at, the non-blitzing lining backer covered the running back. In cover 1, neither of your linebackers are blitzing. So if the running back goes this way, the linebacker to that side picks him up. If he goes this way, the linebacker to that side picks him up. And the one that doesn't end up having to pick up the running back becomes your low rat player.
So what we showed in cover 1 was this Mac was going to blitz, this M was going to blitz, or in cover 0, apologize. This Mac was going to blitz, and this money was going to hang back. Now no one's blitzing. So they're going to work a funnel on the running back. All that means is if this running back up top, if he goes to the right, the Mac is going to take him because he's to that side. If the running back goes to the left of the screen, then the money now is going to take him because the money's to that side. So they're playing 2-on-1 on the running back. Whatever the running back does, he'll get picked up by somebody. Then you're going to still have a man tight end with this free safety dropping, and then you're going to have the strong safety drop back.
Yep.
And then you're going to have the ability. I don't know if they say rat on here, but they don't have the rat on here specifically. But the rat is there to pick up any underneath routes. Like if the slot goes really quick on a shallow, the quote unquote rat, the free man can pick that up because the guy playing man on him is going to get out leveraged. And if you watch our Saturday show with Pac, we go through each of these coverages. I don't know if we've gone through all of them, but we've gone through this one, and we explain it in depth for like 20 minutes. Any other features of this, Ian?
Maybe in man coverage, you notice that the nickel is in outside leverage on the slot receiver because he has inside help underneath from the rat and deep from the safety. So he's got H. Star has H. Whatever happens, he's covering H. And but he plays him towards his help. And the corners, based on where the receiver is probably going to play inside and use the sideline as their help. So he's
outside leverage because if this H suddenly goes inside here, if you're following my cursor, the rat can pick him up. Or if he goes vertical here towards a post, you have a strong safety here.
Yep.
So if he goes high and outside, that's fine. This star is in decent leverage.
Sarcasm has another question. He says, so he covers that zone or grass until someone enters, which would be zone to man. In cover 3, more or less, yes. Not in 0 or 1.
Yeah. 0 and 1 are not zone match coverages.
Yeah, these are man coverages.
These are man coverages here.
Or man match or whatever. Okay.
You good there? Or do you want to go to cover 2s?
He has one more question. He says the one high safety is deep as the deepest.
I don't know if that's how they describe it.
No, I don't think so. I think he's more strictly a post safety. So theoretically, the receiver could get deeper than him on the outside.
Yeah.
And if he's staying outside, the safety is not concerned.
Yeah, they're not asking this. So if this X here goes outside release versus this corner, the corner will be the inside and the sideline will be your 12th defender. So if it's outside receiver release, he's not worried about that. He's just protecting the post because this nickel's leverage is giving up an inside release. Does that make sense?
I think so.
I'm asking the chat.
I'm actually not entirely. I'm not entirely sure if they tell. I don't think they tell the safety to stay as deep as the deepest.
Yeah.
But if you have to make sure that they don't throw a post on you, then you're almost going to default to that.
Yeah.
Right. Because you got to make sure that guy doesn't cut inside behind you. So.
And if all routes other than a single go, he bails or stays home.
Who's this? The free safety? The deep safety?
Yeah, the strong. Are you saying the strong safety here?
The deep safety?
See what he says. We'll see. We'll wait for your response, but we won't keep a pause going that long. But we don't. He's the outside stuff. He's not worried about. He's not asked to get there. That was one of the first things we talked about with Pack is that you can't ask that safety to cover that much ground. So the island is going to be on the outside corner in the sideline for that X and that Z. He's going to protect the middle of the field. He's not going to let any posts get behind him or anything deep in the middle. I'm sure he will expand, but that's not his main concern. His main concern is avoiding that H running a post or that Y running a post or seams.
So Sark says, let's say it's a max protect. Oh, Michael Welch. Okay. Can we just simplify and say Colin Simmons destroy 2 or 3 offensive linemen and get to the quarterback fast? Everyone else just drop into coverage. We tried that with a few other defensive coordinators, and it didn't work so well.
Yeah.
You got to play coverage first. If you don't play coverage, then your pass rush is worthless. The quarterback will just throw it.
Let's say max protect 2 route concept. Everything is short outside of 1 deep route. I think he's still going to keep his depth in that situation, and then the ball will bring him down on the short route if it's in front of him.
Yeah. There's another. Yeah. Let's move on.
Okay, cool.
Cover 2.
Cover 2.
In the Saban defense, cover 2 means cover 2, which is nice.
That is very nice.
It is a zone coverage, 5 underneath zone defenders and 2 deep safeties, just like it looks on your Madden call sheet. Well, there you go. The safeties are bailing to either side. The corners are jumping routes underneath. The linebackers and star are all in normal spots. One trick of this is that the middle linebacker, if somebody runs up the seam, up the middle, it almost has to default to Tampa 2. He can't just let them run down the middle and not be there.
Because there's no one in the middle of the field. The 2 high safeties.
Because safeties have to be over the top on the sides. Yeah.
So the safeties are going to expand, and that means there's going to be middle of the field open. And therefore, a good offensive coordinator, if they think you're going to play that, they're going to fire a route right down the middle towards the post. So you do have to have somebody that will snap onto that route, or else you're going to get completely carved up.
Spoiler alert. They usually don't play cover 2 to both sides.
Right.
Usually when you see cover 2 nowadays in football, teams play it to one side of the field.
And we'll talk about that. That'll be in one of the later ones in our split fields, right?
Yep, it'll come up.
But generally you don't just see pure cover 2.
Yep.
But Georgia did play it some. There was that clinic where they were saying they were getting eat up on a quarterback run, but that was actually on 2-man versus.
Yeah, that's a different. You're jumping ahead.
Yeah. So this is your Madden version of cover 2.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Our strength calls based on hard rules are decided week to week.
Hard rules, as far as we know. Like, would they ever change it up for an opponent? I can't say no. But generally, like the nickel aligns to the slot, the money aligns to the tight end. Those are all really consistent.
So they align based on the passing strength, and the passing strength is the most dangerous set of receivers. So if you put
it's like the number most dangerous third receiver, most dangerous inside receiver.
Right. But I'm saying, like, when you have an X and an H, they're going to go there versus if it's an X and a Y. Because the H is a more dangerous receiver than the Y. That's why this nickel is going to the H side versus the ZY side right here. Because you can flip the back whenever you want at a moment's notice. So you're going to have your star that's going to follow the most dangerous inside receiver. So that's the passing strength. And then the jack always goes, is it always or just in mint? But the jack
usually opposite the nickel.
Right. So Colin Simmons is normally going to be opposite Grayson Littleton.
Yep.
So that's how you can think of it. And so the star is always going to be watching that most dangerous receiver side. He's going to go there. Colin Simmons is going to peek, notice where Littleton is, and then he's going to be on the other side. All right. Are you good on cover 2, Ian?
Yeah. Cover 2, yeah.
Cover 2 was an easy one. Thank you.
You could almost have skipped it because the only time it really matters is in some other coverages when it's a piece of it.
Cover 3.
Cover 3.
Here we go.
3 deep zone match coverage with the strong side. That's the passing strength side safety rotating down.
All right. Let me pull this up here. But before we discuss such a thing, Ian, we've gotten super carried away. Let's hear a word from Academy.
Oh, it's an auto worm bite, turns out.
Giant.
Oh, a giant. It's a giant, so.
It's a giant! Oh, it's a giant! It's a giant!
All right, cover 3. What's going on here, Ian?
You got to scroll down. This is not cover 3.
This is page.
Scroll down. Just scroll down.
You want this one?
Yeah. Nope. Back up. Okay. This one is actually, the call is cover 6, but it is cover 3 against.
Let's not do this.
Yes.
I know we gotta. So it's.
I warned you beforehand. I warned you beforehand.
It's cover 3 or cover 6 based on the rotation of the safety.
Yes. Cover 3 is where the safety to the strong side rotates down.
Yep.
And so in this one, the safety to the strong side, which is the side with the tight end and the slot, rotates down. The other safety rotates deep. They're playing Rip Liz over H and Z. So the star and the corner are dropping back in zone. But if the H goes deep, the star will carry him and it'll turn into man match. The strong safety is dropping down to play zone to the tight end side as the hook player. It's going to end up being more pure zone, but it can also default to man coverage. And you got your post safety, etc.
Very good. That was very clear.
Was it?
No. So why would you play Rip Liz? What's the weakness of cover 3?
The weakness of cover well, that's confusing.
The main reason why we have to convert that star to play man coverage.
Because if they send the H and the Y deep, then the deep safety will get overwhelmed in the middle of the field, because you could run that Y down the boundary hash mark, and you could run the H up straight up the hash mark he's on, and the safety can't cover them both.
Right. So you're going to 2-on-1 the safety, a good offensive coordinator. When it's a single high safety, they're going to get rid of these corners by running, like, you could run a short route with the Z and the X, and you can cancel out those corners. So now they're stuck down low. And then you can fire 2 guys at one safety, one to each side, and whatever side the safety picks, he's wrong. So you have to be able to convert it to man with this star, Littleton. So if this H does run a vertical seam route, now Grayson Littleton has to carry him. That's the main core idea of it.
Yep. Do you want to skip to cover 6, or you want to get there in turn?
I was going to say we might do cover 6 next, because I think it makes more sense just to show the opposite version of it.
All right.
So we saw strong rotation for cover 3, meaning the strong safety, the guy to the tight end is rotating down. And then there's an inverse that they call cover 6. 128. Yeah, 128.
Cover 6, the safety opposite the passing strength is the one that drops down.
Right. So here you have the X.
It's the same exact thing.
So all it is you're flipping your safeties on who decides.
If you scroll down just a little bit on the same page to the trips, this is true cover 6. The other one we showed you became cover 3 when the offense had 3 receivers to one side, and this one does not. So now the money is on the tight end, the free safety is on the backside. You still have Rip and Liz with the star in the corner. Strong safety rotating back to the middle. So they're all dropping back into play. Zone, man is needed. Can you scroll back up a little bit? Yeah. Also, the corners in cover 3 often will line up tight to the receiver in press coverage, but they have to play. It's a 3 deep zone. So at the snap, they're bailing backwards so that the receiver cannot run behind them, because they do not have help over the top.
Right. There's a single high safety. If that corner gets beat outside on a fade, they're going to score.
That's another advantage of cover 3 or cover 6 over cover 0 or cover 1, is that you're not playing strict man. If they ran that X deep and the H underneath into the flat, in man coverage, the corner has to hang with the X. He can't get beat. In zone, he can bail deep, and that star will help on anything underneath in the flat and pick that up in zone.
Yes.
In man, okay, actually a better one is, like, so let's say the H runs underneath and the X runs like a comeback or something. It just, there's more help. You get help in zone from the star, and you don't have to there's less risk of getting.
And you also don't just have to give up everything short to the outside too, because there's some traditional systems where the corner will bail and then the X will just do a sit, and then they can get 5 yards, 5 yards, 5 yards. So if that X leaves the nickel unemployed, that nickel can now handle the lower side of the route on that X receiver. But you guys can see there's a lot of, this is what do we have here? If we scroll down, this is each, like, these are the variations that can occur in each one. So we teach you cover 6, 2x2. We teach you cover 6 versus trips. And then they teach you all different things about if they're playing different lineups, different. So like if the tight end is off the ball, if the tight end is on the ball to this side, if the tight end is in the slot, the tight end is trips to the slot. How to handle motions, all of these things here. So you see how involved it is. We're trying to teach you the core principle, but it is pretty wild what the players have to learn. Every variation of every single coverage that we're teaching you, all based on their formations. It's pretty wild. All right, let's talk
cover 4.
cover 4?
Cover 4 is 2 deep quarters coverage, but it's specifically quarters coverage when the defense is in mint, which is that 3 down tight front deal where the jack is in coverage.
So we've covered this once again on Ian and Pack and I's show on Saturday. We go specifically into mint 4 mod a lot. So if you are curious, because this is going to be a staple, we believe. So this is going to be a common look you'll see.
Yeah. Maybe not as common this year.
Well, from Muschamp's comments, a week ago, he was like, Colin Simmons really slippery in the pass rush. We should maybe figure out how to do that. It's like, yeah, I agree.
Yeah, he was like, we have to activate the jack regularly.
Yeah.
I like that. I like that term for rushing your edge.
Yeah.
Activate the jack.
It sounds like it's much more intellectual sounding, right?
Sounds like something a Bond villain would say. He like sees Bond get through the first. He's like, activate the jack.
So explain this to the good people.
So in means nickel. Mint is the front. So you have the defensive tackle on the defensive end and 4-eye techniques. It's showing their path on a pass rush. The nose is a 0 across from the center. 4 is the coverage. It's cover 4. Mod is the specific type of, there's 2 different types of cover 4. I don't know if that's worth getting into right now. This one's mod, which means the outside corner. Yeah, jacktivate. That's good. The outside corners play man on demand. So if that receiver runs deep, that's you. If he runs underneath, let him go. There we have zone defenders in there to help. Yep. You have everybody's instructions there. The jack is playing coverage. Everyone hates that. The money linebacker gets to rush the passer.
Yeah.
If it's a pass, if it's not a pass, then he's doing what he would do against the run. The safeties have to carry, the free safety has to carry the Y deep if the Y runs deep. If he doesn't, he can go
help
stuff
out.
The run or help on the Z. Strong safety, same thing. If the H goes deep, that's him. If he doesn't go deep, then he can help on the X or he can go stuff the run.
So there's a lot of, in Saban's system, it gets blanketed as just raw aggression. And I think it's because the teams have been so physically dominant, stuff like that. But as you can see, there's all these rules to give the defense an advantage and frankly try to avoid one-on-ones. So it's like if they at any point they can steal a defender, meaning that if they run this route, now we can double somebody, they're going to do it. They're going to use the sidelines with the corner to help. They don't like their guys on islands, even though we've seen all these incredible corners and stuff like that. That's not how the system's built. It's not just screw it, we have better players. They're looking to advantage themselves at any point possible. If they get caught in one-on-ones, then it happens, but they're not looking for that. They're looking to double people wherever they can.
Yeah, especially in the middle of the field.
Yep. Yeah, because there's no sidelines to help in the middle of the field. All right, are you ready to talk cover 5?
Yeah, we haven't got to this one yet in our study with Pack.
Yeah.
There are some geeky rules for it that he's really excited about, and he'll be really excited to tell us about. But cover 5 is ultimately just so in cover 1, it's man coverage with a deep post safety and an underneath rat player. Cover 5 is the same thing, only instead of the rat player, you get 2 deep safeties.
Yep.
Boom.
So you're getting 2 deep safeties, and then you're getting – so when we described cover 2 earlier, we were talking about 2 zone. So underneath players are in a zone. When we say cover 5, it's Georgia's version of 2-man.
Yes.
So you're going to have the 2 high safeties in case somebody gets absolutely cooked and they run deep. But everyone underneath is going to contest routes at a short distance too. So if they have a lot of receivers and they're running a bunch of sits and stuff like that, it's solid there with still the protection over the top.
Now, this particular example, they blitz the Mike.
Yeah.
And the money linebacker covers the running back, and the jack covers the tight end. But normally it would be like end, nose, tackle, jack. The purest version would be your 4 down guys rush. The money covers the tight end. The running back is covered by the Mike. I just happened to find this version. But yeah, everybody underneath is covered man to man. And then instead of having extra help underneath, you have extra help deep to both sides of the field.
So, yeah. And then this is a coverage you can get really in trouble on quarterback run. Because you're going to have the 2 high safeties dropping back. The middle of the field is going to be open. They're dropping back by default versus just pure reading. And so if the quarterback holds the ball and he's fast enough, he can get yard. This Glenn Schumann did a whole like 30 minutes in a clinic about how they were getting absolutely cooked at Georgia playing 2-man versus quarterback run.
It's funny. It's a whole clinic because it's the simplest thing in the world.
Yeah.
Here's a really easy example. If it sits 3rd and 8 and the defense calls cover 5, okay. The Z, the H, the X, they all run deep. The Y runs a deep out. Now, all 4 of those guys that are covering them turn their backs and run with them deep. The running back runs to the flat. The linebacker who's guarding him runs after him to the flat. Who's watching the quarterback when it's a quarterback draw? Nobody, except the 2 guys
that are a mile back.
Who are a mile back and too deep.
Yeah.
So you can run this, yeah. And then obviously a scramble is the same thing.
Yeah. But if you think you're getting 2-man in Madden, boys, hold it for a second with the quarterback, act like you're scanning, let your receivers' routes develop, let everybody turn their back, and then run it right up the middle.
Or run an empty draw.
Yep, or just a pure draw. All right. That is cover 5, which is 2-man that we know it as. Saban calls it cover 5. Okay, next up. We already hit cover 6. That was the inverse of cover 3, where we just changed the rotations of the safeties. Now we can discuss cover 7, which is a broad category.
Yeah, there's a ton to cover 7.
Yeah.
Cover 7 is 2 deep quarters coverage and 4 down defense. When it's 3 down defense, they call it cover 4. When it's 4 down defense, they call it cover 7. The reason that it matters and that they just branch them out is because when you're in the 3 down ment defense, you have the star and the jack who are like theoretically like off-ball players. And you have nobody directly on the edge because your defensive ends are inside. So your jack and your star have to play on the edge. You have to have guys that show up on the edge if they run the ball outside. You can't just let them run the ball outside and have nobody there responsible for it. Right. And so every coverage that you play in cover 4 has to be like, okay, but the star and the jack can't just go, you can't give them an assignment where they can just have to turn and run somewhere. They have to be here if they run the ball. In cover 7, that is no longer a concern because you have defensive end and jack on either perimeter.
You gave me this page first. Did you want this one or did you want me to scroll up?
Scroll up.
Okay.
So this one actually is, it's in mint, but they just slide into like an over kind of front.
Yeah.
There's like a million different types of cover 7 because you have the end and the jack on either perimeter against the run. Then you can develop a lot of different rules for how everyone else plays underneath. And I don't like this so much. I don't like that cloud. You got something below it? What's below this on Jack 7 bracket? What's on the next page? Maybe it was the next page.
Yeah, these. You had like all the variations.
I like this one on the left. So this one is 7 bracket, which means that the star plays outside leverage on the H and the strong safety is an inside leverage and they bracket him
So it's a 2-on-1 on that inside receiver.
It's actually the strong safety plays the deeper of 1 and 2. So he's inside help on whichever of H and Z goes deep. And then the free safety could be you could do a lot of things. But it's 2 deep quarters coverage and from a 4-down defense.
How is this different than cover 2? Because cover 2 has 2 high safeties.
Cover 2 is zone underneath, and cover 7 is man match underneath. So man and less. The C is on X unless X does. Actually, bad example. He's on X no matter what. The star is on the H unless the H goes like under or whatever. Then he trades it off.
So this is cover 7. And then are they playing the same thing on each side? Is it a mirrored thing?
No. One of the tricks of cover 7 is that you can do 2 different types of cover 7 to either side.
So one side of this field is divorced from the other side?
Yeah, split field coverage.
So why would you do that?
Well, maybe on one side. So maybe you're playing a team that has a really good run game and a really good outside receiver. So it's like, we kind of want a safety to help in the run game. But we also kind of want a safety to help stay deep because they have, Cam Coleman. Okay. Well, the side Cam Coleman's playing on, we're going to play a really conservative type of cover 7, and the safety is going to be in position to help on Cam Coleman. And then on the other side of the field, we feel totally fine with our receiver and man coverage on Emmett Mosley. Our corner is really good. He's fine. We want that safety on that side of the field to be able to play a little more flat-footed against the run, and we can steal some help against the run game.
So it gives us a lot of flexibility and ability to game plan week to week based on what we're going to see and who we're going to see. That's the big key. And so that's split field coverages. And that's why when you're like first learning football, you'll be super confused because at least how I was taught is like, there is cover 4. Like you'll hear people all the time, like they're in cover 4. It's like, yeah, sometimes, but really they're in quarters. And they'll say, well, like quarters is cover 4. It's like, in some ways, but really quarters is a system of coverages. So don't just equate quarters and cover 4 as the same thing. Quarters can be cover 4, but cover 4 doesn't have to be quarters, if that makes sense.
No, I don't know if I would say it quite like that.
I would, because when people hear cover 4, they immediately think quarters is all corners and safeties drop back to a 4 high zone.
Right.
And that's not what quarters is.
For the purpose of today's lesson, that is not what cover 4 is in this defense either.
Yeah, exactly. But how you're taught is like, hey, cover 2 is 2 high safeties, and then cover 4 is 4 high players. And it's like, not really. No one generally actually plays that. If they do, it's a Hail Mary situation or something like that.
Yeah.
Before we keep going, though, guys, let's hear a word from David McClellan.
Big financial decisions don't have to feel overwhelming. There's someone who can guide you every step of the way. David McClellan is a fiduciary financial advisor with Forum Financial, and he's working closely with his clients as a true financial life coach, guiding every aspect of your financial journey with expertise and care. If his name sounds familiar, that's because David was a swimmer at Texas and a member of several national championship teams. Today, he channels that same championship mindset into helping people win with their finances. David specializes in financial planning, and he's contributed numerous articles to Kiplinger on the topic of retirement tax bombs. And right now, David is offering viewers a free intro consultation to assess your financial situation. Do not miss this chance to get personalized guidance from a trusted expert. To schedule your free consult, email David at dmcclellan@forumfinancial.com, or you can call him directly at 312-933-8823. The contact info is in the description.
Let's confuse them further, Ian. Cover 8.
Cover 8. So when you play Madden, Cover 6 is cover 2 to one side and quarters to the other. So it's 2 plus 4 equals
6.
6. Thank you. That makes a lot of sense. That's great. Nick Saban insists on calling cover 6 weak rotation cover 3.
Yeah.
So cover 6 is taken. So what do you call it if you want to play pure cover 2 zone to one side and quarters to the other?
Saban calls cover 8.
He calls it cover 8. Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is,
it's not fun whenever you're having to try to teach what they think it is versus the flip. Yeah, it's a little tricky, but it is what it is. We will never doubt Saban.
this one is really useful. So like in the aforementioned situation where you want to help over the top on Cam Coleman,
Yeah.
but you want your other safety to be a little more aggressive. So like on the Z on the left, the corner is in zone and the free safety is he's just deep.
So if Cam Coleman's at Z and you're worried about that corner getting cooked on a fade, you have that free safety sitting over there like cover 2 to keep a roof on a dominant single side receiver.
Yep. And on the other side, you can play quarters. On this one, unfortunately, they are playing a type of quarters that is very similar to cover 2.
Yeah.
So,
but you're still seeing the difference in what they're being described. Like these guys have rules of like read the number 2 to the number 1 receiver. This guy's reading 2 to 1. This guy is just, hey man, you're deep half.
yep.
So that's the difference. And like quarters is very much like if this, then that, like computer programming logic. While cover 2 is like, get your ass back there. And you can use it, like we said, for a dominant single side receiver. You might do this for if you see Jeremiah Smith hanging out by himself, those kind of things. You can play cover 2 to that side, and then you can play quarter to the other side. All right. And then I don't think you sent me, let me see if you sent me this.
So, but you can do this also. You can do this in cover 7 where it's split. The specific thing with cover 8 is that instead of playing 2 different types of man match on each side, you play zone on one and then man match on the other. So that's
you didn't
it's almost
send me
superfluous, but not quite.
You didn't send me a cover 9, but
I can't find a cover 9 in their playbook.
Okay. So just paint the picture.
I don't really understand this coverage, and when it comes up, it seems like it's pretty.
It eludes you. I
was debating if this is the same as their stick coverage technique that I found in the playbook, and it wasn't obvious to me that it is. So I was like, let's not misinform our audience with something that doesn't matter and they won't care about.
Cool. Better than most writers.
Yeah,
most writers will just make it up. All right. So let's look at a fire zone coverage. First off, what is a fire zone? And then how's it different in Saban's world and all that? But what is a fire zone in general?
Yeah. So Manny Diaz was big on fire zones. Huge. It was his favorite thing. And it was rush 5 guys. Your corners and your safety are playing deep, like in cover 3. Mm-hmm. And because you're blitzing 5 guys, you only have 3 guys left underneath. And so they play zone. As many will recall, that had issues in the Big 12 because zone coverage is not good enough against spread teams. You get ripped to shreds. But you can always play fire zone with Rip Liz rules. So it's just instead of just playing spot drop zone, you play zone match zone. Now you're in a little better shape. So this is just the one I happen to find. They actually blitz the corner. So the safety replaces the corner as the deep third defender. On the other side, the corner is basically in man on X. The money and the star are seam players. So if like those slot receivers run deep, they will run with them. They won't just let them run free. The Mike is the middle hook, strong safety deep. It's very similar to cover zero, only instead of playing pure man, you're playing match.
So that is a fire zone. And it's a way, basically, what is it? It's a way to get a fifth rusher while still holding some zone principles, right? Is that the major innovation?
It's a way to blitz 5 and play zone instead of pure man.
Because the problem is
there's all kinds of reasons why you might want to play zone instead of man. Like if you like zone better, so you want to avoid the problems that man has. And then also when you do zone instead of man, your seam and middle hook player, your 3 underneath guys can have eyes on the quarterback potentially.
Correct.
So if he just takes off, everyone doesn't have their back turned necessarily.
Simple math. Traditional zone is there's 7 zones. So you need 7 players, right? So that only leaves 4 guys left to rush. Well, guess what? We want to get a 5th rusher in there, but now we're down a zone. So we vacate a zone. We're actually only playing 6 zones at that point, but we get kind of the best of both worlds. That's the key. And fire zones are super famous. They're all over everywhere. All right, let's see. Yeah, I think philosophically I'm with PK. When you are at Texas, you should have the best players and no need to get exotic. I mean, Saban always had the best players and they played this system. So It's like, I mean, we saw guys with the best players run the system. This is not like a scrappy, like cute system where it's like we're the plucky little guys. And it's not like, I mean, it is a lot, don't get me wrong, but it's like once you can understand the core principles and rep it, and of course you're not carrying every coverage every game. Like you're going to have a coverage menu out of, whatever these 700 pages, but it's not like they're not being asked to remember everything. They're going to be like, hey, here are our 6 coverages this week, and we're going to rep the hell out of them that week. It's not like they have to remember all of them at once.
Yeah. At Texas, it has often felt like simpler is better. There's been one very notable exception, and that was from 2008 to 2010, when Texas had a more complicated defensive coach that ran the 2008-2010 version of all this, named Will Muschamp. And that was a very good defense.
I'm familiar with that guy.
Yeah.
Texas should hire him.
Also, it was very freaking helpful when Texas still had Gary Patterson's quarter stuff in everybody's like memory banks.
Right.
So that they could use it to shut down Jeremiah Smith in the 2024 semifinal. And they could have really used the cover 3. In 2024, they moved towards more cover 3. And boy, I bet they wish they'd had more of it in 2023 when they played the Huskies, because they did not have answers for the Washington Huskies in 2023.
Yeah.
So in a playoff era, you kind of have to be complicated, because you could get a really scary version of like two very different types of offenses on your path to the national championship. If you get like the Huskies and like the 23 Wolverines in the same playoff track, like good luck with a limited scheme.
Yes. So it's like the density of this. That's why I always say they're neurotic. I don't know why, but like the Saban tree, like it's like Southern coaches get kind of like, and it's because they talk like this, but like they get treated as kind of like dumb and aggressive and just like good old boys. But when you look at the Saban system, that's why I call it neurotic. Because it's like they spent like late nights being like, okay, this coverage works, but what if this guy does this obscure motion in this personnel package? Now we have a new variation of the coverage. So it's like they have answers for virtually everything. And so it's simple's beautiful when you're winning, but you will face Washington where Michael Penix is having a hell of a night and you can't stop their receivers. So it's like, do you have an answer? And this scheme has an answer somewhere in these 700 pages. You're going to wish you had it whenever that one team that kicks you out of the playoffs because you weren't ready for them. Trap, fire, zone coverage.
So what if, you want to blitz 5 and you want to play zone underneath, but you don't want to play a single deep safety. You're really worried about their deep threats. So you want to run 2 deep. Nickel bench choke 2 roll. This one is actually, they call them traps. They call them traps for a reason. So like that Z over here, there's nobody near him, right? It's just the corner and off man coverage. So if I'm a quarterback, I might be thinking before the snap, I'm just going to turn and throw a quick hitch to Z. That corner is all alone and he is way back, so he doesn't get beat deep. So we're just going to take the 5 to 10 free easy yards that everyone was insisting that PK was giving up, right? Wrong. The corner jumps down at the last minute and is an underneath zone player who's just jumping that.
Do you remember when?
And the reason the reason he's able to do that is because the free safety bails just after the snap to play over the top of him. And then they blitz 5. So like, let's say maybe your quarterback realizes what's happening and he eats the ball. Then he pulls back up. Now he's got 5 pass rushers and he's done. He's not going to get to the next.
Do you remember what play they got us on with the trap? So it was the Quinn Ewers' first Georgia game. And you remember what was the corner's name?
Dalen Everett or the other one?
I think it was Everett. Everett acted like he was playing off. Quinn turned really quick to throw it, and then Everett just jumped the ball. That was a trap coverage. If you remember that interception Quinn threw. And I remember asking Pack, I was like, was that it? And he was like, yep. So if you remember that play where they got the interception on us game 1 versus Quinn, it's because they ran a trap coverage on us. And Quinn thought he had an easy throw, and he threw it without considering that and interception. So it's a really nice change of pace, right? Like you might play off for a series and let the quarterback get comfortable with that. And then you spring the trap coverage. And then if your corner is ready, like somebody who was great at it would be like a Jade Barron. And then he can jump and get that interception. Now, also imagine if this corner gets this interception on the Z and that Z is not paying attention, that's a touchdown too. So it's a really effective interception as well if you catch it in stride, because you're going for 6 if you do it correctly.
They have traps on the other side too. The star and the strong safety bail out, and it's actually the corner who plays the deep half. Venables hit Tua Tagovailoa in the 2018 national championship with one of these as well.
Is that what he's talking about? Venables did that first play too on that empty, or maybe versus us. But you give the illusion of free access, and then you trap them.
It doesn't feel right to me. I think they just knew what was coming and they just jumped it on that one. But against Tagovailoa, they blitzed the nickel. And so Tagovailoa is like, great, I'm going to throw the quick access throw to the slot, and it's mine. And the safety had jumped down because he had another safety rolling behind him, and he just picked it off. And Alabama never recovered in that game. That was early in the game, and Clemson just kind of put it on him.
And this coverage is if you land this punch, you can kind of change the game. Because it's if they're getting a ton of access throws, you can change the whole tenor and the vibe by throwing this counter punch if you can get the interception there.
Yep.
It's an exciting. You can tell I really like trap coverage.
Like the trap.
Yeah.
I'm sure Pack will have a lot to say about it. I don't know exactly how the underneath zone works. I think it's pretty vulnerable if the running back gets in the route. But you do have 2 deep zone, so it's hopefully you don't get killed.
Eyes blitz coverage for our final coverage, Ian. We made it.
What if you just wanted to get wild and you wanted to play fire zone coverage, but you're I want to blitz 6 guys? Well, you play Saban guys call this eyes. I saw this because Pat Narduzzi did this all the time at Michigan State, and he still does it at Pitt. And there was a game where they held Michigan to like negative 78 rushing yards in their rivalry game. And it was because they sacked Devin Gardner like 10 times on these eyes blitzes. And Narduzzi just loved it. They're just amazing at it. But maybe scroll up. Maybe scroll up to the previous page. I may have given you the wrong page. Yeah, this is a little better. 6 pass rushers. You got a deep safety in the middle. You got the corners bailing deep on either side. And then you have 2 defenders underneath who play the eyes of the quarterback. So they start like an either like hash mark or like either hook, but they're not dropping to a particular zone. They're dropping to where the quarterback's eyes go, because you're rushing 6 guys, so they just can't block it. Michigan State had this double A gap one where like the nose would zip out somewhere, right? And then one linebacker would cross the center's face from like the left, and then the other linebacker would wait and cross the center's face from the other side. And usually, like, it took just a second to develop, but then within like 2 seconds, somebody was running free in the quarterback's freaking face.
It's just a lot. It's a lot going on.
They're so good at it. You have outside contain. It's really nasty.
What I like too is the money and the star here are 2 yards inside number 2. So you also don't give the quarterback that quick access on a blitz where they're taught to replay. So where you, as a quarterback, you would be taught to throw the ball, you're going to have 2 guys sitting right there. So you're getting overwhelmed, and both of your easy access blitz throws are going to have guys in the window. So you're going to either throw a dumb pick or you're going to panic and just take the sack.
Yeah, or it's just like, so my flag defense is based on this. And I have 2 robbers underneath that are halfway to the sideline. And I tell them, just play the eyes of the quarterback. Because if there's a free rusher coming at a quarterback, especially if they're 22 or 10, especially if they're 10, really, but the first place they look, they're going to throw it.
Yeah.
And if they don't throw it, then the pass rush is going to get them. So you just go where their eyes go. And there's a million holes in this defense, but it's hard for the quarterback to find them on time.
Right. Because
the first place he looks is where the defenders are going to go.
So this one's fun too.
This one's awesome.
Yeah.
Texas picked Mateer on one of these last year, or it's never been totally clear to me if they called an eyes coverage blitz or if somebody screwed up.
Yeah.
But they had 3 deep and only 2 underneath guys, and somebody picked off Mateer.
Those are the coverages. We have a couple questions from Nelson that we'll hit before we go. Running long.
Is there's no more? Thank God.
Yeah, we're done with the basic man coverages. Okay, so Homer Ian, this looks like this will be a sound defense, but let's get your season prediction. Will this be a top 10 defense in 26 or a top 5?
Well, I think it'll at least be a top 10. I'm a little worried about the linebackers for a top 5, but I don't know that. I just don't know if the linebackers are going to matter enough I think most teams are going to get overwhelmed by the secondary and the D line. So top 10, I'll say top 10 for sure, and maybe top 5.
I don't know, man. I'm by default with first year schemes. I'm just not that confident. I don't really care who it is. But I'm definitely more bullish, like when I name the play besides linebackers. Like I feel really good with our DBs and like actual man match coverage. I love our ends. I think our DTs are going to do a good job. So I don't know if it would be like top 10 due to great scheme. Like I think there's going to be more mistakes than usual in year 1. But I think also we have an incredible group of talent that those mistakes can solve. But I'm not just as like broadly confident on top 5, and that's just because it's year 1. I don't really care who the coordinator is. And then finally, you asked this yesterday, and we never even got to it, so my bad, dude. FanDuel has Texas win total 9.5, juice towards the under. They believe it's more likely that Texas will go 9-3 than 10-2. Our fans believe 9-3 will be a disaster, but the books think that is likely.
Yeah, they have a very tough schedule.
Right.
They're playing like 5 big money. Didn't Sark say like it's like 20 or 25 million to play at the table? And there's like 15 programs or so that are there. And there's like 5 of them on the schedule. There's LSU, there's Florida, there's Michigan, there's A&M, and then there's some fringe ones.
Not Michigan, Ohio State.
Right. Sorry, Ohio State, even worse, right?
Yeah. And
then there's Ole Miss and Oklahoma, which are fringe, and one of those teams exists.
And A&M's at that table then.
A&M's at the table, I think. I don't think Oklahoma is, but
they're hanging out like if
they're hanging out.
They're in the room.
Over the shoulder, I wouldn't do that.
Yeah. Nagy hanging around the table like I wouldn't play that hand necessarily.
Yeah, you don't play that hand, man. Hey, split.
You need a worse hand, but you need a hand you can develop later.
I feel like I may even be missing somebody that would push it back. Oh, Tennessee. There you go. That's 5 programs that are like big stakes programs, and then 2 like fringe big stakes that have played in the playoffs. They both played in the playoffs last year. The 2 non-big stakes programs, Ole Miss and Oklahoma, were both in the playoffs last year. So yeah, it's really easy to imagine Texas compiling 3 losses.
Yeah, especially if they're in the form of penalties, shoot yourself in the foot situations, like constant 3rd and longs. You know, if you get beat by a better team and you played well, and it's just one of those games of like that was a great game, but damn, they had the ball last. Okay, but if Texas doesn't play clean, then yeah, you can easily see 9-3 here with this schedule.
I also love this from Z Willisms. Watch out for what Kevin Wilson will implement at Oklahoma. Watch his Ohio State and Indiana outside zone stretch. I would be delighted if Oklahoma has Kevin Wilson come in and be like, I've been here before. When I was here, Sam Bradford threw 60 touchdown passes, blah, 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 and start bossing around Ben Arbuckle with no one in charge to sort out the differences. Please throw as many chefs in that kitchen as you can. The whole thing will be a grease fire before long, and I will be delighted.
Blake Bryan says, I think 11-1 is.
Tell Arbuckle that he has to install under center outside zone along his air raid.
I think 11-1 is more likely than 9-3, but that's just me.
Vegas disagrees. So
Yeah.
you have an opportunity here, Blake.
Yeah, put your money where your mouth is, Blake.
Don't bet on sports. It's not.
But I do think predicting schedule difficulty from year to year is near impossible because I do agree with that. Remember before OU season, they were like, this is going to be a brutal schedule, and it just didn't turn out to be. So I still think we're going to have a tough schedule, but I do agree you can't just assume. And a lot of the teams were annoying that they were like, did you see our – so end of the year when we knew how good everyone was, they were still politicking off of their theoretical hard schedule. So it does make a difference. I do agree there. He's doing that. Listen to Sooner Scoop. Kevin Wilson overhauling run game.
You know, I saw like the smallest inkling of something like that. This is delightful. I'm delighted. It's like, is Kevin Wilson a really good offensive coordinator with great ideas? Yeah. Do I think that he's going to be able to install them under the auspices of Venables / Nagy with Arbuckle? I don't know.
All right, spring sale, 50% off, guys. IT on 3 rivals all together, Ultimate Fan Bundle. Click that link in the description if you haven't joined. If you're a watcher all the time and you haven't joined the board, come on over. We'd love to see you over there. Everyone have a great day. Make sure to stay tuned in for the rest of the schedule.
Justin, Wales, the Pack and Ian episodes, Homer, Pack, and Ian, what are those called?
Muschamp defense. You just
Yeah, I think you can. There's like there's a playlist. We also have an article on Inside Texas that has a link of 1 to 12 that I've been updating.
Yeah, we have 12 so far. I don't even know how many we're going to end up with, but they will be in a playlist, and then you can and we built them a good curriculum. So we like start with the most basic concept, building to more complicated. So you'll be able to watch it like an actual series. So looking forward to that.
It'd be funny if we built this enormous library, and then everyone gets fired after this season.
Well, the worst part is you build this.
Like if you really want to learn about Muschamp, there's these idiots at a Texas website that built this exhaustive.
The worst one is you can easily. Well, I don't think he'll tweak it. I think he'll stay with Saban. So that part I don't think will be an issue. But the firing part absolutely could be.
This is so funny. Gabe and Teddy mentioning Oklahoma running under center outside zone. I can't wait. It's like Oklahoma's going to get under center next year. It's like, what do you think they're doing? Well, what play do you think they're about to run?
But that just means too that they're going to go into this play action realm, right? Which kind of defeats the purpose of an Arbuckle spread.
They're going to be a mess is what's going to happen. It's going to be like
you're trying to run outside zone under center play action, but keep the principles of a spread air raid.
And your quarterback's trying to learn a new arm angle.
Right. Yeah. Hey, seeing is believing. Maybe they pull it off. Everybody, this was brought to you by Academy Sports and Outdoors. See you later.